Hello, I'm Shirley, and today I'm at the home of Yen Yen and Colin Goh, who are the creators of Dim Sum Warriors. This is a comic book series. So let's meet them. They're actually originally from Singapore, but they had spent the last 20 years in New York, and they've been here in Taiwan for 2 years. I've always wondered why they're here in Taiwan. Yeah, why are you here in Taiwan?
By happy accident, I think.
Happy accident, yeah. So we arrived in Taiwan because I was invited by Zhongyang Daxue, National Central University, to be a visiting professor. And then we came and fell in love with Taiwan and decided to stay.
And we also came with our daughter, and when she was here, she arrived and she knew zero Chinese. And it turned out to be a really good place to learn Chinese.
Right.
Yeah. So she started from zero, and now she's doing very well. The teachers are fantastic, and we thought, this is a good place for her to learn more about being Chinese and to learn the language.
Good choice. Very good choice. Now, actually, Colin, you are a lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah, and then now you're doing comics.
Well, my parents obviously also keep asking that question. But yes, comics has always been my passion ever since I was a kid. And I started cartooning professionally at 17. And it's only when, at that time, it was just not possible in Singapore to make a living doing cartoons. It just didn't exist as a possibility.
Yes, they rely heavily on good education in Singapore. That's what we learned too.
For most middle-class families, the path is always in all the shis, right? To be a teacher, to be a lawyer, to be an accountant, doctor.
Same here.
So the middle-class families, it's always like that. So I think that's a path that he went on to be a lawyer.
Yeah, it just didn't exist. To me, it was always like, it's something I could do as a hobby. But, times change, and when we first left for New York, we had just gotten married, and we both actually went there for graduate school. So I went there and I got my master's in law. I didn't go there for cartooning. I had been practicing for a few years in Singapore, and we both went to Columbia University. I got my master's in law, and she went for her doctorate in education. But we also noticed that, the arts, you could make a living in the arts.
That's very encouraging here, and I think Taiwanese parents need to hear this.
It's not easy, but it's, no career is easy, right?
It's true, yeah.
And none of what we learned in law or education, it's still very useful in the arts. You don't have to be one thing. That's also a lesson we learned from our time in New York. You don't have to be one thing. You can be many things. So we decided to channel all the things that we knew into whatever we wanted to do.
Right.
So that's how we stumbled into filmmaking. We didn't go to film school, but we...
That's true.
Yeah. Actually, we started by, we made a website that was hugely popular in Singapore. So we were getting like 4 million hits every month on this website.
Yeah, we got covered in Wired.
What's on the website?
So the name is a little bit, so it's called talkingcock.com. So it was a very well-known site in Singapore. It means to shoot the breeze with friends, like to chat with friends.
It's a bit naughty.
It's a bit naughty. And then we had also, so we satirical humor about life in Singapore. So we were away and missing Singapore. So we created this website, and then it got hugely popular. And a key feature of the website is actually a crowdsourced Singlish dictionary, because we really love Singapore English, and we enjoy it so much.
So it's usually very funny. It's a funny mix of languages.
And when our friends get together, we kind of like break into Singlish. So we're like, somebody should document this. So we decided to, a big feature of the website was actually the Singlish dictionary. So we called it, how we have the Oxford Singlish Dictionary.
Yes.
For us, because our website is talkingcock.com, we called it the Coxford Singlish Dictionary.
Okay.
Yeah. So we collected multiple items from the people, and then it became a book, and it's been selling. The book has been selling, gets reprinted all the time till today.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, it's 18 years. 18 years in print. So.
Oh, wow. I'm thinking that my audience, obviously, I want them to know that, want you guys to know that, for them to create the comics, you think that it's all just silly and fun, but actually you're incorporating this into education, because you're in the education background, you're in law background anyway, you're making this into something that's positive, which is really unusual. Yeah. So how did you guys, even now, you've come up with, what is it, dim sum book app, reading?
Comic reader app. So we have the series that you're looking at, the Dim Sum Warriors. So that series is for ages 7 to 12, published by Scholastic. And then we have another series which is called The Little Dim Sum Warriors. So this is bilingual. So it's English on one side and flip over and it's Chinese.
You guys are really smart in this.
Yeah. So and then this it's coming out as a comic reader app that's bilingual, helps kids learn English and Chinese. We just want to make sure that kids grow up globally competent, not just like learning languages for tests, but really having fun with languages, being able to express boldly and creatively. So that's our goal with the Dim Sum Warrior. So the app is going to be launched soon, actually, probably by the time this airs.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. I wish that, family with kids have known you earlier, because, as it is, Taiwan is trying to become a bilingual country by the year 2035, I believe.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time, but it means really telling Taiwanese people to be more bold about speaking English, because Taiwanese people they're shy, they're very friendly, but they're just shy, and they're not very confident about their English, and they always feel like they have to be 100% sure the next phrase they're going to speak in English before they'll speak it. But I think, if they'd known you earlier, this would have been a great tool to really build up the confidence in learning
It's not too late.
It's never too late. As we found out, part of this was inspired by our daughter when she first moved to Taiwan, because she couldn't speak Chinese very much. And there were great teachers, but we found there weren't enough bilingual materials, I guess, that were fun. There was a lot of very traditional books, very strong morals, and not very fun to read. So that's when we came up with the Little Dim Sum Warriors series. We thought, we want something silly to say, because that's what kids want, right? They want to talk in a funny way. They want to tell jokes to their friends, and that's how we came up with the idea. Let's have fun stories that can be read in both languages, and it was important to be read in both languages, because then the kids can also see the act of translation, how things match up, and that's
wow. And they learn translation at the same time too.
yeah.
Oh wow, this is really great. So can you tell us just exactly what kind of content is in the comic? Like, give an example.
It's kung fu fighting dumplings, basically.
Right.
the three cute dumplings. So the three cute dumplings is we love 港式点心, like Hong Kong.
I figured that out.
Cantonese dim sum.
Yes.
And it's always, you know, for us, it's always hanging out with family and enjoying dim sum together. So the three key characters are 虾饺, 烧麦, and 叉烧包.
Okay.
So those are the three key characters.
You have the English equivalent for those characters.
Yes,
right?
so it's a barbecue, a roast pork bun.
叉烧包.
叉烧包.
It's a shrimp dumpling, which is a 虾饺.
虾饺. Yeah.
Right.
And a pork and shrimp dumpling, which is a 烧麦.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
So
right.
those
I
three
love
are the
that.
key characters,
Yes.
and then they battle a pot of evil instant ramen, which is 方便面上校.
Who's so, you know, because 方便面 is so, you know, 泡面 is delicious but evil, right?
Zero nutrition.
Nutrition, but so delicious. Yeah, so we realized that kids really enjoy the silliness of these three key characters, and then so the message is really, you know, 做什么事情都要一点心. So use your heart with everything that you do, because dim sum means a little bit of heart.
Oh,
一点心, yeah.
点心, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of heart.
Heart, yeah,
Xin
use
is
your heart. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the whole book series has a lot of our focus is really on global competence, right? So things like, what if you meet dim sums of another culture? What happens? Like, how do you make those? How do you accept others as yourself? How do you resolve conflicts with each other? So there are a lot of values which are communicated in a very hilarious and fun stories.
Yeah. And when after this came out, so we first published the graphic novel series came first, and after that, what happened was it got adapted into a stage musical
Yeah.
in Shanghai,
In Shanghai,
by Lai Shengchuan.
Right. Who's Stanley Lai, who's a pretty popular stage director, stage musical film director from Taiwan, actually.
And I went to China, and then
But he met us in New York.
Yeah,
Oh.
so we were introduced to him by our director, Mei An. So Teo Mei An is also Singaporean based in New York. And then Mei An connected us with Lai Lao Shi,
Yes.
Stan, and then Mei An also connected us with our composer, who's Tu Yun, who's a Shanghainese American.
And her,
do
the
the
compose.
music.
So we did, and that was in 2017. We premiered the musical version in Shanghai, and we were very lucky that year because Tu Yun, our composer, won the Pulitzer Prize for music.
Yeah.
And so it was.
So and
it
then
was crazy
2018, the show managed to tour 25 cities in China.
in China, and just after that.
So we're like kind of looking at all these kids, we're going on tour and then seeing all these kids getting really excited about the dim sum characters. And then we're like, we got to do something about this. So the year after that, so last year, I left academia, so I was a professor,
Yes.
and decided to start Yamcha Studios in Singapore to really grow Dim Sum Warriors as the company as an educational app so that more people can enjoy the stories and use it for learning.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, with the stage play, did you guys have a part in the costumes and everything? Because they're awesome. Yeah. You know, they had the headwear where it's a dim sum, the food itself, but then costume.
It's designed by we have a wonderful designer from Hong Kong, Yoki Lai, and she designed the costume. So our role was really as writers. So we wrote the book.
Yeah, it was a very interesting production because we had Chinese people from all over the world,
parts of the
right?
world.
So we had Taiwanese, we had from China, obviously, and even from the different parts of China,
From
and
Taiwan, for different parts of China,
and then from Singapore, and you know, it was really fun.
Like Asian people from all over the place. So it was very interesting because we had arguments over what it's like. There was one segment when we had to talk about the ingredients of shao mai. and we had really regional arguments. So we're like, no, Hong Kong Shao Mai has pork and glutinous
Shrimp.
rice. No, glutinous rice, pork and shrimp. And then the Chinese people, no, it's got beef and nuo mi, which is glutinous.
Was this
rice.
made into an episode of its own? Because that would have been interesting.
No, it wasn't. That was very funny.
Yeah.
I know. You know, it's funny because now I come to think of it, I love Shao Mai, but I don't even know what's really in it.
Yeah.
All I do is just care about eating it and just say yum, you know.
And
it's
Shao Mai is
delicious.
different at different places.
Yeah.
And youtiao is also different at different places.
Oh,
In some
I can
places,
understand.
youtiao it's curled together. In some places, they're two parallel sticks stuck together.
Don't you think that food is an international language?
I think so. And I feel like in food there are actually no enemies, and which is why we love working with food and sending our message of kind of, global peace through food.
That is wonderful. So, what other aspects, educational-wise, that you've thought about? Because I think you two are very smart people, and you really, and besides, you're turning something into so positive and so educational and such high learning for kids and everything that even parents would approve 100%. I mean, how do you come up with these ideas? You have a daughter to experiment on, I guess, and she gives you guys ideas as well. She's a smart kid, Yeah, so it's just amazing. I wish, I don't think Taiwan knows this.